What's going on, guys? It's Thursday and I'm back to hopefully help you win another Horizon 5 trial event. This week we have Elf on the Shelf. It is a cross-country event for off-road vehicles tuned to B spec. Now this kind of goes along with the general theme of how Horizon 5 trial events have gone thus far. It is going to be a little challenging. Sometimes it's going to be more challenging than other times, and you're really going to have to hope your teammates can kind of help pull their own weight and not just be anchors in the back of the field. You're going to need a good vehicle, you're going to need to be a decent driver, and you might even need to rough out the AI just a little bit to win. I feel like in every Horizon 5 trial event we've had so far, I think there was only one that I think was completely easy, and that was the one where he had like I think it was Modern Supercars tuned to A spec, and that one was really easy. All the other ones have been a little more challenging than what we were used to for, like, say, Horizon 4 events. This thing, you might need to try a few times. I actually had to go through and give it a few different attempts because my team just wasn't really doing it for me. We'd have like one or two teammates that were okay, and then the rest of them were bringing up the rear. So you might have to go into this with the mindset that it might take some time to actually complete. It's not going to be a one and done, most likely. But the vehicle I decided to go with is the 2014 Ford Ranger T6 Rally Raid. It is based off the vehicle they ran in the Dakar Rally. It's a great truck. It's Horizon 4. This thing was in the extreme off-road category, and it was probably my favorite cross-country vehicle in the game, especially for A800. I wasn't even sure if you can even do B spec for that truck in that game. I think it might be A by default. I'm not entirely sure. Nonetheless, in this game, B700 is the sweet spot for it. I have a tune for A800, but the B is definitely a more comfortable zone for it. I think it's the way to go for this event. The tune I made for it, I will show it on the screen right now. It is called B700 Off-Road. I'll also show the share code for it. Now this might even actually be the most popular truck you're going to come across with teammates bringing to the event. It's not that hard to come by, and I think it's just the best way to go. Every vehicle has their shortcomings. For this category, I think the Macan is probably the next closest vehicle to being the best. In my experience, the two minis that are eligible, they're just slow, not fast enough. Something about it, they just don't really click for me. The Ford Bronco R, a lot of people are going to use that because you get it very early in the game, or you get to drive it early in the game. You can actually buy it. It's not super expensive. For a lot of the newer players that bought the welcome pack or got that DLC, it's going to come with an optimized version of it. It's just so slow. Like, it handles really well, but it's so slow. No matter what you do to it, it's probably the worst vehicle you're going to choose for this event. There are certain races where that truck shines, but none of them are really going to be beneficial in this event. I think the Ranger T6 is the way to go. Now you'll have to kind of figure out how you want to attack braking. Like for race 1, I don't use a whole lot of brake except for the very first turn, but I usually just brake just enough to slow down, and once it's slowed down enough, just the slightest tap of the e-brake most of the time will get it rotated enough to take off into the straightaway or whatever. There are a few instances where I braked and had the wheel turn hard enough where it could actually slide and get rotated enough, but generally I brake just enough to slow down, barely tap the e-brake. You don't really need a whole lot of braking input for this event because the brakes, for a B700 truck, the brakes bite on this truck. They do a very good job of slowing this truck down. The off-road tires help with that. I'm going to jump into the reason why I think you should put off-road tires on it. A lot of people aren't going to. Most people, they jump into an upgrade or a tuning build just focused on power. They don't really care about anything else. I've always been more towards handling characteristics, being the primary source of upgradability, and off-road tires I think are the way to go for this. You can not have off-road tires, use the stock ones and be okay, and add more power-based components, but I think the off-road tires will help you. They're a little more forgiving. You'll have extra grip, a little more security going into the turns, coming out of the turns. I think it's the way to go. That in conjunction with the race brakes make this truck brake very well and make the handling pretty nice. Other sections of race 1 you kind of need to be weary of. The very first jump, for some reason the AI, sometimes they like to just completely slam on the brakes and barely make it over the jump, and they'll end up just tumbling over, getting caught in the mountain below. And you don't want to be behind them when that happens, because you'll be caught up in it and you'll be coming from behind. So you don't want to be stuck in that situation. So be wary of that. Try to avoid the AI. And also that first jump, try to land in the grass, because this thing, it maintains composure so much better when a jump lands off-road as opposed to being on the concrete surface. It's less, I don't know, I guess it's less shock traveling through the suspension. It's just easier for it to handle. So try to land in the grass if you can. And the very last jump, going towards the finish of race 1, it's very inconsistent with this game. Sometimes it'll land completely fine, it'll keep going. Sometimes it'll kind of stall out, bottom out, it seems like, and you kind of have to give it a second before it starts being able to accelerate out of it again. I don't know if that's a damping issue. I don't know if it's a ride height issue. I've messed with different combinations and it still seems to happen no matter what I do at just random times. I don't really know. Just be wary of the very last jump as well. Try to be a little defensive. Try to guess which line the AI is going to take if you want to kind of keep them behind you. Race 2, the very beginning where you go over the jumps kind of and go towards like where the airplane is, that can be kind of a handful. If you're going in off the jump like at an angle going sideways, it can be kind of annoying to kind of reel it back in. But once you get through that, you're going to be okay. The AI slows down a lot in that section. In the water section towards the end of race 2, be wary of that. You can kind of use it, you can kind of go in a little more aggressive and bounce off the AI and kind of dick him out of the way if you need to. But if AI is not by you, make sure you're slowed down enough going through there. You don't want to fly off the track too much and have to kind of limp back onto the course in the deep water. It's just going to slow you down a lot. Race 3, at the beginning there's kind of like a slalom type section through the dunes. Don't carry too much speed through that section. Don't brake too much and fly off the course. Kind of be conservative, go through there. The first lap you might be able to be cautious and kind of see where you can push, where not to push. You'll see in my gameplay, that very first lap I was all over the place, and then I finally got it gathered for lap 2. The hairpin dirt turns, you can kind of, you don't even need to brake a whole lot, kind of just come off throttle, work it around the turn, maybe very slight use of the brakes. You'll notice in lap 3 I was all over the place probably. I spent most of the time looking at the scoreboard, hoping my teammates could get us back in the lead. There was one guy, he would fall back and then he'd get the lead, and then he'd get back in front of an AI and then he'd fall back, and I was hoping he was able to get back in a position where we were able to win. And we were able to win. So like I mentioned before, you're gonna have to hope your team does a good job. They bring something that's not stock, they bring a good competitive vehicle, and you're gonna have to just work as a team. You might not win every race, but this vehicle, if you drive it right and don't be too crazy, it's definitely the way to go. You'll be competitive in this truck. Hopefully you guys can get these challenges done. I am going to leave a link down in the description to my Discord channel. I had a viewer, Sly Ty, one of my favorite supporters of the channel. He recommended I start some kind of group or something like that to kind of get people in there where they can ask for help and kind of get together and get these events done. I was going to do a Forza group. I'm not really a fan of the Forza group. I think too many people can get in there. I don't like having the clan tag before my name, which is kind of a nitpicky reason. So I went with the Discord channel. The description for that is going to be, or the link for that is going to be in the description. And get in there. Let's make a fun community where we can all help each other out and share some good ideas. Let me know down in the comments also what worked for you, what truck you decided to use, what tune, if you got everything done, that sort of thing, the usual. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and even subscribe if you haven't. My subscriber numbers have kind of jumped a little bit since this game came out. It's very satisfying, very rewarding, very gratifying. I appreciate the support. Stick around with me and I'll try to help you through these events as this game continues to move forward, and I'll see you guys next week for another trial video.